Get ready to get sticky. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Corona Crush. Corona Crush is creating Jewish couples always. Join the Facebook group. Just search Corona Crush and look out for virtual speed dating events happening every other week. They're 100% free and 100% Jewish. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sticky Situations. I'm your host, Rachel, which obviously you all already know because I'm unforgettable. Everyone, right now, whatever platform you're listening on, go follow, subscribe. If the platform allows for it, go give us a 5-star rating and a glowing review. Only say nice things. Keep your negative comments to yourself. Go like Sticky Situations page on Facebook. Follow Sticky Situations Pod on Instagram. Follow Sticky Situations Pod on TikTok. Also, if you would like to be a guest on my podcast, the applications are in the socials. I don't remember where they are. They're probably hidden somewhere. But also, the application link is on my Corona Crush posts each episode. Or if you can't find any of those, then you can send me a DM on Instagram, again, Sticky Situations Pod, or send me an email at stickysituationspod@gmail.com. Same goes if you want to date any of my single guests. I want to be a shotgun, so please give me that opportunity. I have some great people on the podcast, so just let me try being a shotgun for you. I'll probably do a good job. So, okay. But we'll get into the episode now. So, everyone, we have an extra special guest today, as you all know, because I haven't given this shtick in a while. All of my guests are extra special. So if you want to come be an extra special guest, that's another plug to come be a guest on my podcast. So just reach out or fill out the application, whatever you want. Okay. Extra special guest, please welcome my friend Dov. Dov, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, glad to be here. Very exciting.
I'm excited to have you here. Okay, so Dov, before we get into your stories and hot takes and everything that we're going to get into this episode, can you please tell my listeners your age, location, relationship status, and religious denomination?
So I'm Dove. I'm from out of town, not from New York. I currently live in New York. I'm 30. It's a little scary to say, but I'm 30. Yeah, just
it's
turned
okay.
30
I'll be there
recently.
soon.
That's right. You're right. We were with in the winner's circle. And religious denomination, I would say Orthodox.
Okay.
We're out there, just regular Orthodox.
And relationship status.
Oh yeah. Single. I told myself a couple weeks ago that I needed to take like a 2-week break, but it has not. I've still like mingling, so I think I'm single, and I think I need a break, but still mingling.
Okay, breaks are highly
Not
encouraged.
Not a relationship.
Okay, breaks are highly encouraged, I think, because dating is exhausting. So that's my
sprint,
hot
folks.
take. No, it's exhausting, and sometimes you just need a break. Also, like the people out there sometimes aren't great, so just need to take a break so you can refresh to find the good ones.
That's right. Settle down, but don't settle. And sometimes you just gotta take a breather, like you're in like a basketball game, like sub me out, coach. Right? This is what you get having a guy on the show. You get sports metaphors. So yeah, but I think I need to take a break. But for now, I'm still going strong. So
okay, well, that's good for us because then hopefully that gives you stories.
That's true, right? Sometimes you get interesting stories when you're not dating too. But
yeah. So I've been actually on a pretty big dating break. No, I've still been mingling a little bit, but I haven't like decided to go on any dates. So I get that, but I still somehow have tons of stories. So yeah, you could definitely have stories when you're not even dating.
So in case anybody's listening to this and it's not like immediately when it comes out, like they're listening to this in a few months or 3 years maybe, right?
Probably like a month or two.
This is Tu B'Av week. It's the Jewish week of love, right?
Oh yeah, it actually is Tu B'Av today.
It's Tu B'Av right now for like another hour maybe.
Yeah.
So it's how do you feel about, I don't know what do they call it, the Jewish week of love? Did I make that up? But how do you feel about Tu B'Av? Any interesting like Tu B'Av experiences? Did you dress in white? Did somebody go to a party where everyone dressed in white? I know it's like a thing in biblical times. Anything like that?
So I went to one of those last year and it was terrible and it was a complete
Mm,
waste of time. So this year I decided to not do anything. And like my friends keep sending me events and I'm like, I just don't want to go. Also, like I'm in the middle of moving. So I'm like, would I rather spend money to go to an event where I'm not going to have fun and waste my time and my money? Or would I rather do what I have to do and maybe move into my new apartment and use that money to buy stuff for said new apartment?
no, I
And I'm
guess
going with the
party.
latter.
Go with the latter. Okay. Yeah, just party the night away. Don't worry about responsibilities. It's fine. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like so we're recording on actual Two Bob, so a lot of the events happened the night before when Two Bob started, because
Right.
as you know, the Jewish days start for anyone who doesn't know, Jewish days start at sundown the night before.
Right.
So, but there's also stuff going on over the weekend, stuff going on tomorrow night, and like my friends keep sending me stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to go. So I'm taking this Two Bob off.
Nice. I should have. I didn't. I someone sent me a barbecue thing, and the age range was very big. It was like an 18-year age range, like 21 to 39. And usually that's kind of like, it's kind of red flag. Like it's not gonna be a great event. But I like barbecues. I figured, hey, it's a barbecue. You know what the heck? I'll go get some burgers and whatever happens happens. And it was a total waste of time dating wise, but I did have some very interesting conversations. They weren't sticky, but they were interesting. So usually these things are a waste of time, but I also like feel like I always, for me, I just take away something. Sometimes you just meet new friends, like new guy friends for me. So from dating wise, they're usually a waste of time. I have gone out with a couple people from dating events, but it's tough. You know, it's kind of like some sort of like cattle analogy or something, but like it's kind of like you feel like you're at the market a little bit. It's a little strange, you know. It's a little weird.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I don't like the events that you're just like standing around and waiting, like you just try to go up to people and talk to them. I find I'm very unsuccessful at those because my default is to just like be clicky with my friends. Not because I'm clicky, but just because like I don't feel like talking to new people or it's like everyone's standing in like groups with their friends and like you don't want to be the one to like approach someone because like they're with their friends, you're with your friends. So I'm like, this is all a waste of time.
I
Yeah.
get your perspective. So for me as a guy, like it is when they're like a cluster of girls, it is like intimidating to approach, right? If it's one girl, I go, hey, how you doing? Maybe two girls, but like you have a few girls, three's a crowd, as they say. You have it's a little intimidating to approach. Is that the same way for a girl to approach like a group of guys standing around talking?
Oh yeah. Number
Oh
one,
yeah.
I don't like approaching guys. I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and you guys know me. I'm pretty much the same in real life as I am on the podcast. Like I'll just go and talk to people. Like I'm fine. I can hold my own. Like I'm never worried about like being by myself somewhere, except for maybe at these dating events. But like send me to a Shabbos meal where I don't know any like I get a random Shabbos meal invite where like none of my friends are going. I'm good. I could talk to the table. Going to shul, going to kiddush, even if I don't roll in with my friends or my friends are out of town that week, like I can hold my own. Like I'm pretty good at it, but I don't like approaching guys at these events like that because immediately they're like, "Oh, she's interested, but I'm not interested in her." And then they get weird and I'm like, "Okay, but like what if I just want to get you on my podcast?" So,
Right. Now you have
yeah,
an
so
in.
yeah. Oh, I've been
Not
like
that now you
meaning
didn't have one before, but now you have like another in.
I've been meaning to make business cards for like ever, and I keep saying it every time I go to an event. I'm like, I wish I had business cards, but I don't. I don't know. I definitely would feel weird going up to a group of guys, but also like I would feel like if a guy is standing by himself, he's probably a weirdo.
Ooh, I've been that guy. So I'm glad you told me because now I'm not gonna do it.
Like maybe if he's with
What's the
one
move?
friend, I don't know. Like one
Like,
friend,
right.
like I don't know. I guess when my friends and I go and there's a bunch of us, we'll try to like pair off and like walk around in like pairs.
Hmm.
That way we're like approachable. Cause like, okay, you might not go up to a group of like five, six girls, but would you go up to two girls?
Yeah, I actually did last night. Not to brag. I did approach two girls last night. And then I guess they have a signal or one of them left. Like, I don't want this guy, but you should talk to him. And yeah, I don't know, I guess you guys are good with that stuff. Because as a guy, like I remember you talked about in one episode where like guys are just clueless and
Yeah.
like they don't know to leave, you know? So I appreciate that.
Yeah. I don't know. So I encourage everyone else to go to events, but right now, the right thing for me to do is to take a break from going to events.
What do you think the business card should say? Like, are you ready to get sticky? And they're like, what are you talking about? No, are you like on end and they explain it, you know? It's
Oh,
like
I
imagine
kind
if
of
you just
like
handed
that.
someone a card, like, are you ready to get sticky? And they're like, sorry, I don't know who you are. you know,
No, I like that. The front says get ready to get sticky, like the beginning of my
right,
episodes. And then the back has like my email address, the socials, and then a QR for like the Spotify.
right. Maybe like, hey, yeah, slogan or something. I don't know. But you already have one. I guess that's the fun thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
I,
And then it would have my like logo on it. I like that. I'm gonna get on this eventually, maybe one day.
the singles event thing is interesting to me. I only recently started going in the past year. I never like wanted to go to them just because I'm like, hey, if I'm from I live out of town and to me dating by definition is always involved or I'm from out of town, I should say. It's always involved a lot of driving and it's like you're gonna drive all that way for what? You know, not maybe you meet someone, maybe you don't. So but last year I've started doing it and it's been really interesting because it's the first time that I've like started running into people that I used to date and it never used to happen to me because I live out of town. Like all the girls I would go out with were like you know, New York, Baltimore, all these places. Um, Mostly New York, actually. And it's like a new experience for me. And the first time it was very weird, but now it's like, oh, whatever. Hey, how's it going? You know, just act friendly, treat them with respect, and then move on. But it's a new experience for me for sure because I never used to have it. I never like I would date them, and then I never saw them ever again. That was great, you know. But it's a new thing for me,
Yeah, it's a New York thing. You just go somewhere and you see all the guys or all the people you've dated in the past,
right?
and it's just how it is. I mean that I live in a neighborhood with predominantly young professionals, and I see guys I date all the time.
Right. Also, I feel like as like I'm 30 now, so I'm not by definition I'm not in my early 20s anymore. I feel like it gets less weird and more like could be not everyone sees it like this, but I see it as more like, hey, we're all in the same boat and like it's nice to not that it's nice to see them because it's always going to be a little weird for me, but it's not as weird because it's like, hey, listen, we're all like, you know, there's nothing wrong. We didn't do anything wrong. We're just, you know, the pool gets a little bit like smaller as you get older, so it's like you're gonna see the same faces over and over by definition, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, I agree. Some faces I don't want to see again, but
Oh
you
yeah,
just
that's where you get
like,
really sticky though, right?
yeah. Also, like now I have this podcast, so they know to stay in line or else I'm going to talk about them.
Right. Yeah, hold them to account.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you want to tell some dating stories?
Sure. So I realized I had heard horror stories from people I've gone out with. Like one girl told me that a guy they went to a beach at night and then the guy just started minturating into the ocean. Um, and that shocked me. But then I started listening to your podcast and I was like, oh wow, they're like guys are animals. I didn't
Yeah.
realize this. I mean that part I knew, but like to the extent. So I don't have I don't have any horror stories because I don't know. Like I just don't have any. Thank God, like no horror stories. Could be mostly because like I'm a guy, male privilege. I don't know. Um,
Probably.
Probably that's got to be like 90% of it. But also like most of the people that I've gone out with over the years have been like I've until like recently, like I last year I've really been like switching things up, like dating events, using more shakhanim, um, you know, other things like you just trying to be more, just switch a style up, like you know, just keep changing it up and try new things. But historically, I've always like it's usually been the person setting us up knows me and them a little bit. One of us at least, you know, reasonably well, the other one a little bit. So it was never like for the most part not crazy. Like why would you think of that person for me? So I don't have any horror stories, but I will say I have a couple interesting stories. The first one is first of all my first date ever. I started dating a little later. I started dating around like 23, maybe 24. I think 23 though, and I really didn't know what I was doing. Could be I still don't. Many people might say the girls I went out with might say I still don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like I'm like a veteran of the game now. I have like I don't even have to look up restaurants. I just know where I'm going to take you, stuff like that. But I wore like a suit but no tie. I'm like, oh, I can't wear a tie. That's too formal. I wore a suit on my first date, and then never again. It was so weird. I don't know why I thought to do that. It was so strange. Yeah, one and done. That was good. But my weirdest date, okay, so I can't say I really had a bad date because in my early 20s, especially, I was like very focused on my career and like it was just work, work, work. And I did not make a lot of time for social life. Like I would see my friends at weddings and stuff. I lived out of town and most of my friends were in yeshiva in New York or somewhere else. So like I wasn't around them, that much. And so I started dating. I'm like, hey, all my life is like work stress. This is a time where I get to just chill out with someone my own age and have a good time, like just shoot the breeze. So I since that's how I started dating, that was my mindset going in. I've always associated dating with like not a happy place per se, but like a little bit. Like I'm just going to have a good time. Like I like talking to people. I love going to weddings and like meeting new people. So that's the way I see dating. And but that being said, the funniest story was someone who knew my mom was like, I have to set up your son with this girl. And I told my mom, like, and my mom like has been involved with like two dates of mine. That's it. Like I just like take care of it all myself because I'm like, yeah, I don't need you. I need your help. Like, now my mom's great, but I like
Yeah,
to do things myself. I don't know if
I
that's
hear.
common or not,
No,
but
I mean, I
she,
think I told my mom she's welcome to try to find me a husband, but she hasn't. I mean, I also like I'm not from the New York area. My mom does not live here. She doesn't know people. She'll like when she decides she wants to get involved, she'll like send me things on the internet. She's like, "Have you heard of this organization?" I'm like, "Yes, mom. It's not my vibe." Like,
right,
bless her. I love her. She's great, but
right.
yeah.
So a friend of hers, like, oh, I have to set your son up with blah blah blah. And I said to my mom, I'm like, I don't know this lady. She doesn't know me. How could she possibly have a good idea? And it wasn't. It was not. But anyways, it was really funny because the person I looked at the resume, the person was a girl. Looked at her resume and I saw the name of a friend of mine who I went to yeshiva with. When I was in yeshiva, like this guy and I had a little bit of a tense relationship. Not that we didn't get along. It was just he was a very intense guy. Um, I at that point in my life was a very intense guy, and we were just like it was never like we were never like didn't like each other. We were just very things I did bothered him, and then things that he did I found funny. So it was very. No, we not that we didn't get along, but it was a little tense. And I saw his name, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna call him like to see if it's a good idea to go out because the person setting us up didn't even know me. So I called him up, and he was like, "She's not for you. She's too yeshivish." So I said, "Okay, how do I know you're not just saying that because you don't want me to go out with your sister-in-law and then maybe it works out and then you're stuck with me for the rest of your life?" Um, so I didn't say that part. I just thought it. So I was like, yeah, yeah, I hear, okay, you're giving a lot to think about, right? And I didn't even think it was a good idea because I think I was 24 and she was 20, and I just thought she was too young for me. People do it, I know people married for a long time with more age gap, but that was just the way I saw it. I didn't want to, I don't know. So anyways, I go out with her and she says, yeah, it's my first date ever. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a waste of time. And it was one and done. But to me, that was just like the backstory, like with the guy did not want me to go out. And I probably would not have gone out with this girl because I just didn't like see the relevance. But since he did not want me to go out very badly, I was like, no, no, you're not gonna talk. Like, I'll go out with whoever I want to go out with. If they want to go out with me, that's their business. So yeah, that was probably the one date where it was just a total from just the origin to everything, just a total train wreck. Um, but that's not a horror story. No one peed in the ocean in that story. So you know?
It's okay. It's so funny. Like,
Right.
think about it. You could have been his brother-in-law. Like, that would have
Yeah,
been weird.
that would have been so weird. That would have been but it did lead into my next just most bizarre story. So it didn't work out with his sister-in-law. She was too sheepish for me. She was too young for me. She was too first date for me. So didn't work out. But the guy, my friend's wife, I say my friend, we were friendly. You know, we don't really keep in touch anymore, but I'll say my friend's wife. So she tried to set me up with a couple of her friends, and she had a friend from Canada. I don't want to like how much information I could give out from another country. No, it's from Canada,
Canada's fine.
and
Canada's a big country.
yeah, Toronto. Toronto. It's like saying someone from New York. Toronto, right?
Yeah.
That's how they say it. Toronto, not Toronto.
Toronto. That's how they say it.
Toronto.
Two of
Yeah,
my really good friends are from Toronto, so they're like Toronto.
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 We're from Toronto. We like poutine. Um,
No, that's Montreal,
and Tim
I
Hortons. Oh,
think.
that's Montreal.
I think poutine
Yeah,
is like more Quebec. Am I getting that right?
Montreal is Quebec. I've never
Yeah.
been to Quebec. Have you been to Quebec?
I've never been to Canada.
You're you're not missing out, but you it is an interesting.
I
Everything there
do have
feels
to
like a
go.
knockoff version of America.
I do have to go. I have a couple good friends who are live there and are from there. I just have yet to go visit.
Listen, people are very polite there. It is true. Like they're super polite. So
I like polite people. I'm from the Midwest, so like polite
that's
people
right.
are great.
I'm from out of town. We hold doors for people, right?
Yeah, people like say hi to you. Like when I go home, I genuinely have to like recalibrate my brain to like when someone waves at me, I have to like not be like, oh my God, do they know me? Do I know them? Am I supposed to be waving? To be like, no, they're just being friendly
Right. They're not. Yeah. It's in New York. It's totally different. If someone's waving at you, they're probably like
on crack.
looking for money. Yeah, on crack or looking for money or something.
Yeah.
Or no, it's there's no other option. Um,
Or waving at the
so
person behind you.
there, I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
It just always feels so stupid, no matter what.
I just assume they're not waving at me, and then sometimes they are, and I do know the person, but I can't see their face from that far away. And then they feel stupid, and then I feel stupid for making them feel stupid. It's a
Right.
whole thing.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, back to the story.
Yeah, back to the
Toronto.
story.
So she had a friend from Toronto who was in Lakewood for a wedding. So she's like, "Hey, you want to come go out with her?" So I went out with her a couple times, and at that point, I was in a real dry stretch. I'd just gone out with people who were not right for me. Again, never had a bad date really, but people just not right for me was not. They weren't relevant, and I was just very like not desperate, but I was desperate to go out with someone that normal. Um, someone I thought was like I don't know, normal, not like the people who were weird that I was going out with, but just not relevant at all. And so I went out with this girl, and it wasn't like a connection or anything, but I was like, hey, she's normal, keep it going. So she goes back to Canada, and we did like a few FaceTime dates, which are I'm not a big fan. I'm like an in-person guy. How do you feel about FaceTime dates or Skype dates or whatever, Zoom, whatever they're doing
Um,
nowadays?
it depends on I don't know, because like I would like to like I always have like a phone or video call before I go out with someone. Because I can get off the phone and like 20 like if I schedule like a video call with someone and it's a first like call, date, whatever, and they're not it, I could be off in like 20 minutes or less. But like, I don't, if
Well,
it's someone who I like really like and want to spend time with, then I, it's hard to say. I haven't dated that much long distance. So like I've had a few like long distance things, if you want to say they like never ended up going anywhere because we never like actually met in person. But I don't know. I think if it's between dates, it's good. Like you guys all know my story. Like I started dating someone. It was like some COVID stuff going on. So then we like both each kept having exposures. This is like earlier in COVID. Now nobody cares about COVID. But like we all kept having
It's okay.
exposures.
No.
We all we both kept having exposures. So then we had like one in-person date and then like three or four video dates. But then
Nice.
but I always knew I was gonna see him again unless we ended things. Like the plan was to like go out in person again, and we were both in New York, so like it wasn't. I don't know
Was he ducking you? No.
what.
Was he just ducking you like, oh, I'm sick. I get COVID again. What can I do?
No,
No.
no. We actually dated for a little while after that, but I don't know. I guess for I don't like long distance because for me it never works out.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm still open to it. I don't know. I can't say. I guess it depends on the person with the FaceTime dates. I think it's really hard to like have FaceTime dates with no end in sight, like to see each other in person.
Right. Yeah. Which is why I kind of did what I did. Like I did a couple FaceTime dates and I was like, look, I we should go out in person. I'll come to Toronto, and if you want, I said to him, and I'm like, come. If it doesn't work out, don't feel bad. I had cousins there that I wanted to visit anyways. I said I'll visit Niagara Falls. If it doesn't work out, it's fine. So back and forth, I don't know. Maybe should have taken it as a sign that it was going to end up being a no, which it was, obviously, because we're here. But so I decided to go to Toronto, and decided to drive in March. So March, you figure it's
Oh,
like the beginning of spring. Spring, no, it was
no,
spring in America, not in Canada. So
no.
I hop in. I actually didn't even take my car because I was driving like a beat up truck that could not make it, and also got horrible gas mileage, and it's like 500 miles. So I borrowed my grandfather's Corolla, which is, for people who don't know, a very small car, which does not do well in the snow. And I drove, I think maybe Matsu Shabbos Saturday night after Shabbat. For those not familiar with Matsu Shabbos, right? Saturday night, and I drove all night. And in the middle of the night, which again I wouldn't drive at night nowadays. That's like crazy to me to drive 500 miles at night. That's just stupid. But I was stupid back then. I'm still stupid now, but just in different ways. Not even less stupid, just different stupid. I drove all night, and of course the blizzard in the middle of the night. No one on the road but me and my little Corolla, and it was very scary. But I made it through, and I got there. And then at the border, they're like, just like a dude traveling by himself with like maybe had a backpack. Like I was going to stay overnight or 2 nights, whatever. They're like, "Is this your car?" I'm like, "No," because I was so sleep deprived. It's like it's my grandfather's car, so they of course search the trunk, looking for, I guess, drugs. I don't know. But as I get there, bombed out of my mind because I'm driving all night. Of course, I'm an idiot, so I go out the same day. I don't give
Oh
myself.
no.
I'll be there.
Did you take a
First of all, I
nap?
should have. Yeah, I did take a nap. I did take a nap, um, but at my cousin's house, so that was cool. Um, Very grateful for them. And we went out, and it was a good date. We went to the aquarium. I love aquariums. Um, Zoos, I feel a little guilty. I don't know if you know, zoos, I always feel a little guilty because it's like, they're trapped there, But fish, they're
Yeah.
stupid, so who cares?
Well, except for like at the aquarium, you also have the dolphins and like
True.
the other, like not fish,
Right. So
or
I
even
feel the
like the
same way about them
sharks.
as the zoo. Sharks animals or fish? I feel like they have a fin in both camps.
Well, scientifically, I think they're fish.
They are fish scientifically, but are they smart? Are sharks smart?
Um,
Is
I
water
don't
wet? Are
know.
sharks smart? We don't know.
They're smart enough for me to be deathly afraid of them, so
Right. And if you
I don't
start
know if that's a
playing,
smart level, but
like what's the Jaws theme? Like,
no, I'm
but
afraid of
then they get
sharks.
really, smart. Yeah, that's a smart thing. Be afraid of sharks. Yeah. Um, Although Finding Nemo did teach us that fish are friends, not food. But definitely be afraid of sharks. Anyways, the aquarium was great. Love fish. Very. You ever been in an aquarium where they have like the overhead? I'm
Hmm.
gesturing with my hands for people who can't see, who are just listening.
Nobody can
There's
see
all
except for
this.
me.
Nobody can see. Um, they have like a. I'll try to. It's a radio is the theater of the mind. There's a glass archway and you walk through this glass tunnel, and there are fish above you. And I like that. That's cool. So it was a good date. And at the end, I said, "So, do you want to do this again, or something?" I'm sure very clever and charming. And she, of course, said no. And then I drove her home, and it was a very interesting conversation. We're kind of just like talking about, hey, just doesn't work out sometimes. What are you gonna do? One of those. And then I went to Niagara Falls on the way back, and it was frozen. So
Oh wow.
yeah, that was quite a sight. I don't know. Have you been to Niagara Falls? And that was the end of the story.
Not, I've been on the American side.
Yes, I went on the Canadian side, and they
They
say
say
it's
the
better.
Canadian
I don't
side's
know.
better.
I feel like I have to go back when it's summer and then go on the Maid of the Mist boat thing to really experience it.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
But on
How
the
was that?
American side, I think it was good. This was like I was in high school, so this was a long time ago.
Right.
So I don't really remember. But
It's
I
okay.
mean, it was cool. It was Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls. That's right. People get married there, right? Jim and Pam.
I wouldn't get married there though.
I think it's like cliche, right?
But also, like, I don't want my dress and my hair and my makeup to get wet. Like, you get
Right.
wet. Like, you're wearing a poncho. I'm like,
Also, who
if
wants to
I'm
get
getting
married in
married,
Canada?
well, you could get married on, oh, yeah, that might be issues. That might be problematic. You could get married
Oh
on the
no,
US side.
just dunking on Canadians. No, it's fine. Uh, yeah, right. Yeah, it's like at the wet though. Yeah, the whole wet wedding thing, not ideal. How do you feel about weddings on the beach? That's like a popular thing, not amongst Jewish circles so much, but it's a thing.
Um, so I feel like when I was younger, I was like, oh my God, I want to get married outside. Like, it's so nice, it's really pretty and everything. And then I've been to a bunch of outdoor weddings, and I'm like, I want to get married in the inside where the elements are not there. There's AC, and my dress isn't going to get dirty.
Nice. I went to a wedding at that fancy place in the Bronx, Marina Del Rey.
Mm-hmm.
You ever been there for a wedding?
Yeah, but only in the winter. So it wasn't outside.
So for those who don't know, and I did not know until I went, Marina Del Rey is a swanky joint in the Bronx in New York. It's on like the water, right? I've only been there once.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the invitation. It was a wedding that it was my grandfather's. Uh, in Hebrew, the word is mechutan, which basically means the his his son-in-law's parents. So basically, like the people, my grandfather's daughter married a person, a man. That person's family were making a wedding there. They invited my grandfather. He needed somebody to drive him, and the wedding invitation just said Marina Del Rey. And I knew I'm like, this has to be a really fancy place if you're not even going to put an address, you know? And anyways, they had the wedding out there, and it was so hot. And they started doing this thing at weddings where they make speeches at the chuppah during the wedding ceremony.
I don't like that.
What is with that? Who wants this? Who asked
I
for it?
don't like any of that.
Yeah,
I
that's a
want the
made up
chuppah to be
thing.
quick.
Yeah, chuppah should be quick. Like, do the thing, say the blessings, say the brachos, right, and then keep it moving. Like, we got things to do.
I
We gotta
want
leave.
no speeches at my chuppah in the future. No
I'm gonna hold you
speeches.
to that.
No speeches. There could be speeches at the reception. No speeches at the chuppah.
Yeah, but they had like 40, not 45 minutes. They had two speeches, and it was
Oh my
outdoors, and
gosh.
it was a 90 degrees day, and they were literally handing out water bottles during the chuppah during the wedding ceremony, and just like the cognitive dissonance, I believe is the term. They realize it's hot because they're handing out water bottles, but nobody thought, hey, maybe we should just get on with it, you know. So that's
Yeah.
my Marina Del Rey experience.
Yeah. So I want my wedding indoors. I mean, I went to a couple of outdoor, I feel like, no, I've been to outdoor weddings even not during COVID, but I went to a few also during COVID. One, it was like the hottest day of August. It was like 90 degrees. I think today's their anniversary, actually.
All the
Um,
stuff.
it was a beautiful wedding, and it was a beautiful wedding, but the chuppah was kind of torture because it was fully like there was a tent for the reception, but the chuppah was like directly in the sun, and it was like it was an early wedding, I think, or at least it was August. So it was a really long day. So the sun was blaring by the time it was the chuppah, and it was 90 degrees, and I think I like sweat all my makeup off. Like you can't actually no, I didn't wear makeup. It was COVID masks. Um, but like you can't do that. And then conversely, I also went to a wedding during COVID that nobody told me was going to be outside, but it was outside and it was the end of October and it was freezing. And I was not dressed for an outdoor wedding
Right.
in the freezing cold. And it was very unpleasant. I would have dressed very differently. Like, I don't know. Like, I luckily had a jacket, but I didn't wear tights. I wasn't wearing like I don't know, girls' shoes don't cover their whole foot,
No.
especially if they're not wearing tights. I think I had like my Uggs and my it was one of my good friends from home. So my parents were there too. So I think I had my Uggs in the back seat of the car. I feel like I don't know if I got them at all during the wedding. My friend and I just decided to get drunk because that was the only way to stay warm. Um
That's
and we
great.
did, and it works.
That's right.
But yeah, no, I whenever the day comes that I get married, it will be indoors.
Indoors.
Indoors. It will still be beautiful, but indoors.
Beautiful. I have been to weddings where like I actually some most of them were Hasidic where this happened, but also not Hasidic or Hasidic as some people might know it as, where they just they do it very quickly outside and then they go back inside. Which I guess is what happened in Marina Del Rey, but it just wasn't quick. But what a party it was though. That was a lot of fun that wedding. It was very interesting because it was I didn't know most. I knew like some of my relatives there, but I was just there as a driver, so I didn't really know anybody, and it was just a very interesting time. It was a big party though. Two thumbs
Those are
up
the
on
best
Marina Del
kinds of
Rey. It's
weddings.
fun. Yeah, if you get an invite to Marina Del Rey, go. It's really beautiful and it's fun. I want to go back.
Yeah. Yeah, the only wedding I went there was in the winter, so it was not outside, but it was pretty. It was a pretty venue.
Yeah.
But before we continue our discussions, let's take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Corona Crush. Are you tired of swiping on dating apps? Tired of guessing whether the cute guy or girl you keep seeing around is Jewish and or single? Then you need to run, not walk to join Corona Crush. Corona Crush is a Jewish organization working to create Jewish couples always. Corona Crush has over 30 confirmed engagements, over 22,000 members from all over the world, and has set up over 50,000 speed dates. Join the Corona Crush Facebook group and post yourself or have a friend post you and see who reaches out. Fill out the survey to sign up for virtual speed dating events happening every other week. Corona Crush is 100% free and 100% Jewish. Worst case, you end up with some stories of your own. Best case, you find the love of your life. Try it out today. Here on Sticky Situations, we tend to focus on bad dating stories, but sometimes dates do go well and lead to proposals and weddings. Who would have thought? And what do all of those require, you might be asking? Well, the answer is flowers. Who doesn't want flowers from someone they've been seeing? Don't forget, flower petals and bouquets needed for proposals. And that's even before all the flowers that go into weddings. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Primrose Flower Shop. In my opinion, Primrose is the coolest flower shop around and has the best customer service to fulfill all of your floral needs. Primrose offers a range of services from your basic bouquets to subscription services where you can get flowers delivered once a week. They deliver all over the tri state area, including Manhattan. Primrose does weddings, bar and bat mitzvahs, and other simchas. I've personally been to a wedding where Primrose did the flowers, and the work they did was beyond gorgeous. Primrose additionally offers in store proposals, including a romantic setup with candles and music. Primrose is located at 2922 Avenue M in Brooklyn, and the phone number is 929 376 9815. You can also follow Primrose on Instagram at PrimroseNY. So, if you can't get someone out of your head, buy them some flowers from Primrose. They'll either love it or they'll find you really creepy. But regardless, the flowers will be out of this world. And we're back.
Wow. I feel changed.
Okay, so I think one of the interesting things that Dove and I were discussing before the podcast that he said that he wanted to talk about was surprisingly a topic that we haven't really talked about, which was breakups.
Oh, because
So
I'm like, what is she talking about? I don't remember what we talked about. Breakups, yeah.
Yeah. So, Dove, what did you want to discuss about breakups?
Well, when we look at my notes here, oh yeah, breakups. Breakups are funny. I went through a breakup in like January, and it didn't. I felt like I got on from it pretty quickly. 'Cause I was really into this girl. Like I hadn't been into a girl in like a long time, so I was really into her. And the reason we like she broke up with me, she dumped me, but it was kind of like over an issue that we were discussing the whole, most of the time we were dating. And I was like pretty devastated, but then I immediately like got over it, or so I thought. But then I took a trip, I had a pre-scheduled trip to Israel. I went, and then the whole time I was like listening to breakup songs, and like it didn't connect in my head until after I got back. Like, oh, you were not happy. Like you would have a, you weren't over being sad about it. So it's kind of something I thought about, recently. And I would say with breakups, what do you think the best way to break up with someone is if you've only been going out maybe a couple dates? I think I know the answer, but a couple
Like
dates, you
a
just say,
couple
hey, not feeling.
dates?
Yeah, just a couple dates. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
I send a text. I say, "Hey, it was really nice getting to know you. I don't think this is a match. Best of luck with everything."
is it better to do it through a phone call or a text? Which would you prefer?
I hate talking on the phone. So I've
Okay.
had guys like call me to end things on the phone after like two dates, three dates. And I'm like, this could have been a text message. Like,
Right. So I'm that guy.
I mean, like, listen, I understand they're just trying to be nice and whatever, but like, I'm not attached. And also, but it's just also a me thing. Like, I'm sure the most respectful way is doing it over the phone, but I just, I don't have a lot of time in my life. I mean, sometimes I do, but in general, like, I need to like schedule phone calls. I don't like when someone just calls me. So I like need to mentally prepare for a call. I need to set aside the time for the call. And like sometimes it's not a big deal. Like sometimes I'll get home from work and I'm just like hanging out watching TV that night. And like that's okay if like a guy wants to call me, meaning text me and then call me. But like I just hate talking on the phone. So if you're just calling me to tell me that you don't want to date me anymore, you could just text me that.
Yeah, not like, hey, I didn't need to talk to you to hear the bad news. Like I'm
Yeah,
I'm
like
good.
this didn't need to be a phone. Like those like the memes like oh this meeting could have been an email. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it could have been a text.
right. So I definitely get that. I guess I'm one of those guys where I feel like it just feels like dehumanized, almost like if you when you get work assignments via email and it's like, hey,
I prefer that.
you prefer that? I
Yeah, because then I
sometimes
have the
it
detailed instructions.
I do like that part, but sometimes when it's like been a while since you talked to your boss, but like for
I
me,
don't
like I
have
don't
that.
work. I okay, so I have. I'm like, hey, I'd like a little FaceTime, like just let's talk it out a little bit. But maybe that's just the kind of person I am. I'm a talk it out guy. So
I don't know.
um,
Like, I mean, I am in the office like basically 5 days a week, and I sit right between. I'm an account. You guys already know my job, so I sit right between the assistant controller and the controller, who are like my two like supervisors. So like sometimes they'll email me stuff to do, but like that's nice
right.
because then I have like a detail of it. But a lot of the times, like the one that I work with the most, he'll like send me an email of what he wants done, and he's like, "Let me know when you have a second to discuss." And then I'll just turn to him and be like, "Hey, want to discuss this?" Because we literally sit right next to each other in an
Right.
open workspace. So
That's
then
cool.
one of us will go over to the other one's desk and discuss. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's all personal preference, but definitely one, two dates, I don't think needs to be a call. I think if it's like three dates and more, then
Right.
or like more than three dates. I feel like the three date mark is like safe. Like you could send a text. If you want to be really nice, you could do a call, unless you know the girl hates phone calls. But also, like, then what
Right.
do you do? You just cold call her out of the blue and be like, "Hi, I don't want to keep dating. I don't want to date you anymore." Or you be like, "Hey, can I call you when you have a second?" Then she knows
Well,
what's going to happen.
it's got to be scheduled because you don't want to catch her in the middle of dinner with like her family or her friends or whatever, and and then she just has a extreme. She might have an emotional reaction. You never know. People are,
After
have
two
emotions.
dates?
I don't know.
I
I
mean,
guess not
like
after 2 dates,
if I've
but
gotten emotional over a guy after like 3 dates or less, like it's not on the phone with him.
right. I don't know. I guess it definitely I've never called someone out of the blue and broken up with them. It's always been like a hey, when's a good time to call you?
Yeah, but then don't you
Um,
think she knows what's happening?
yes, I
Or does
think it like
she?
it prepares her a little bit mentally. Yeah, and
So
it's usually like
then
a 30-second phone call. Like, hey, I think you're great. Okay, still great. I'll think of someone for you, maybe whatever. Okay, bye. Just
one
really
time,
quick.
one time a guy scheduled a call to end things with me like 2 days in advance.
Wow.
And I'm
What?
like, yeah, I was like, bro, you could have texted me. I don't care. And we had gone on 3 dates. Like he's like going on and on and on the phone. He's like, I think you're really great and all of this. I'm like, you're not breaking my heart. Like I'm okay. Like you
Right.
don't like this could have been a text message. I literally am fine. I don't care.
And he's like, no, don't you understand? I was listening to "Don't Go Breaking My Heart" all day, prepping for this phone call. What do you mean? Yeah, I don't know. It's I hear both sides. Maybe it depends on the person.
I always send a
I
text.
hate texting. I hate texting. So maybe it's like you hate phone calls. I like phone calls. I hate texting. I'd rather just pick someone up and have a 30-second phone call and like, yeah, okay, okay, bye. Um,
Yeah, I think it's a lot of effort because I'm definitely the type of person that I need to have calls scheduled unless like I'm really like dating someone like I don't know when I've had boyfriends in the past like if they call me they call me if I can't come to the phone like my ex-boy well he would also we were dating when I was fully working from home so like I don't know he didn't have like a 9 to 5 like desk job so he would just call me when like I would text him during the day and then he would call me when he had like a set usually when he was driving somewhere he would like call me and talk to me but like I don't know sometimes he would call me and I was in a meeting so I would ignore his call and just be like hey I'm in a meeting I'll call you after like
right.
that's different I think it depends where you are in the relationship like we had been dating for a couple months at that point already. So like that okay, you could just cold call me out of the blue, but I don't want some guy who we haven't established that we're in a relationship or anything just calling me out of the blue.
Couple months. Does that mean it's got to be in person, or you do that over the phone? Doesn't have to be you, but in general, what would your advice to be to all the folks out there?
Um so probably like if you're in a relationship, it should be in person, but I will put in the caveat that I will not make a guy drive to me to be broken up with. Like I
Right.
dated someone for we dated for like 2 months and we were in a like we established we were in a relationship and I ended things with him, but I did it over video call because like he lived in New York but not in the city and he would like drive to come see me and I'm like I'm not making you drive all the way to me so I can break up with you.
Right. That
And
seems
then
cruel and unnecessary.
yeah,
So
and like
good
I
on
don't have a
you.
car and I'm not getting on the train to go break up with someone.
Right.
Like I don't know, I guess like my other like actual significant relationship that was it was kind of like it happened over a period of time like discussion kind of like we were saying like we started discussing some things that like we weren't on the same page as about and then that kind of snowballed and like I don't know part of our breakup conversation was over the phone and then it's like okay let's like meet and talk and like I think gives better closure but it's also harder
I
so
like the idea of getting on a train to go break up with someone. That seems very like posh and I don't know. Just like there's a old movie which I've never seen. It's called Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Could you've heard of it? It's I think about a guy who like goes to Washington to do a filibuster, maybe. So that's the kind of energy I imagine getting on a train to go break up with someone. Like I've got some very important business to take care of. Got to go break up with somebody here. I don't know.
well I'm not getting
I love
on
trains.
like the LARR or the NJ Transit to go break up with someone because what you go you break up with them and then you have to wait an hour for the next train like
Oh,
no
nice.
thank you
Yeah,
also
pass.
like I don't I try to not leave the city unless someone drives me so and I don't have a car so
So you're
it
stuck on
doesn't
an
leave a lot
island.
of options it doesn't leave a lot of yeah but I don't know it's a tough call and it also depends on It depends on the people. It depends on the situation. Like if a guy does something that's bad and that's why I'm ending things, like I don't want to talk to him on the phone. I'll send a text and be like, I'm really bad and sometimes like I don't take the high road and I just like unleash my wrath on them, but I'd rather do that over text message.
Always taking the high road.
Meaning like I
Thankfully,
don't know.
not
I
to
like to
brag,
tell guys what they do wrong.
right? I would love to do that, but I just feel like, again, I'm not telling you what to do or anyone. I'm just saying for
No,
me,
I know I'm wrong.
for
I know
me,
I'm
no, it's
wrong.
not. It's not wrong. Maybe you need to like get it out of your systems. You don't have to think about it for the next 3 days, right? That's. I
Yeah.
think maybe it could be healthy. Who knows? I don't know. I just feel like I know that I don't like it's I don't feel like I should waste my time trying to like convince someone to change. It's like they're not going to change. They're not going to listen to me. Like we're not in each other's lives anymore. Going on separate ways. But I've only been in that situation a couple times where I felt like I strongly disagreed with what they were saying and what the way they saw things, and I just didn't think it was worth the effort. And I knew it wasn't going to change anything, so I said, "Hey, call kavod," which is a idiom in Hebrew, which means I don't know. I mean, literally means all the honor, but it means, hey, you do you. You do you. Call Caval, I don't know if it means that, but I would say though, tell me if I'm wrong. I always assumed like if you're gonna break up someone, keep it brief because no one wants to have their heart broken, possibly, depending on where you are in the relationship. Or maybe not their heart. Like nobody wants someone like I don't want to hear like you broke up with me. I don't want to hear from you. Okay, like shut up. It's not like I don't want to hear from you anymore. So keep it brief, right?
Yeah. Have you ever had a girl ask why?
I remember. Maybe. Um, I don't know. I've definitely given reasons before, but
Let's say you go on
um,
2 dates with someone, you don't click,
yeah,
like you just say a generic, like I feel like
I just
after
say I
two
don't see it
dates, like,
working out long term. I just don't see it going anywhere. So
yeah, but then you've never been hit with a why.
I guess not. I guess I'd remember that. Why? Because I'm a picky person. No, like like be
No, I'm
brutally
not
honest. Yeah,
asking why. I'm just saying,
yeah,
like,
no,
have
right,
you
no,
ever,
yeah, like
I never ask why. I mean, let's be very honest. Like, let's be really real right now.
sure,
In the majority of my dating situations, I've been the one to break things off for the most part. I would say
right.
probably 80, 85% of the time. But I've gotten asked why. And I hate that.
Like, well, it's but I would if someone asked me why, I'd say you didn't offer to split the tab and the coffee in the first date, and that really bothered me.
Is
No,
that
just
actually a
kidding.
deal breaker?
No, what?
I don't even
No,
pretend to reach for my wallet on the first like 2 or 3 dates.
dude's got to pay. That's the job. Yeah, no questions about
Listen,
it.
I paid a lot for my hair, makeup, dress, effort. Like, yeah, he can pay
You
for
got
the
to play
date.
your part. You have to play your role, and that's your role is to pay. Like it's not. I don't know. That's the way I see things. In fact, when a girl offers to pay for me, it's usually like not a red flag. It's usually like, oh, what am I doing wrong here? Like what's going on? It's very nice. It's here's what's a good thing. Girls out there, let me preach a little bit here. I don't know what I'm talking about, so don't actually take me too seriously. But I tell you, for me personally, just I can't speak for every guy out there as much as I'd like to. It's always like coming from out of town. It was always really nice when girls offered, like when you're like into it a little bit, like they offer to meet you halfway or offer to come to you. It was always like, oh, that like means they're like a giving person. They want, they see it's like it's very hard to drive a few hours from out of town to go to New York or somewhere else for a date. And after you've gone out a few times, the girl offers to meet you or to come to you. I would always turn them down for usually, but it was always like, oh, that's a good sign to me. So I don't want to have a girl offer to pay on like the first however many dates, but like if you get into it a little bit and they offer to pay, it's a nice gesture and it makes you feel maybe appreciate is the word, maybe in it together is the word. I don't know. It's a nice sign. I wave them off. I got this coach. Let me score the basket. But like, it's always a nice sign. But not on the first few dates. Come on, guys. What are you doing? I mean,
No.
a couple stories have been on the podcast where guys are splitting the date on the bill on a coffee or something. That's a little weird.
Yeah, no, I I would say no to a second date if a guy did that.
Yeah, it's a red flag. And
It's a red
if a
flag.
girl offered to it's a little like emasculating if a girl offers to like pay or split the bill on the first date. It's like I don't know, not for me.
Like you're saying, when you're into it, like a few dates in, okay, that's when I'll start being like, oh, do you want me to pay? Do you want me to plan a
Right,
date? Like, I don't really offer to go to guys because I don't have a car. But like if we're both in the city, I'll be like, okay, do you want to meet? Like first date, I expect him to come to the area that I specify.
right.
Whether it's like by my apartment, by my office, like wherever we're like meeting, I'm like, this is I want him to ask like where the best area is for me to meet, but I will likely, depending on the time, will say like the area by my apartment or the area by my office.
So what? I have a funny breakup story. It was okay. So like you said, you usually break it up with the guys, right? You break
Hmm.
it off, break it up, break it off.
Yeah.
Just rolls off the tongue. So my early 20s, I definitely it was like most of the time it was the girls who broke off with me, and it was good because I was very inexperienced. I didn't really know what I wanted, and it was just, hey, you think it's not going to work out? That's great. Like I don't have to think about it because I'm still learning. What every time I go out, even still, not as much now, but I always felt like I got a better understanding of like what kind of person I was looking for. Like, oh, I like that about that person. I didn't like that about that person. I never experienced that. I never, new perspectives, yada yada. You meet new people, it broadens your horizons, all that jazz. But so the first time I had to break it off with someone, or the first time that I had to break it off not through an intermediary like a shotgun or just someone who set us up, um, I was going out with this girl and I really wasn't feeling it, but the shotgun was like I said, the shot was a shotgun. It wasn't like an official shotgun, but a shotgun. I said I'm not really feeling it. Go out again. The whole story. They push you to go out again. Went to Israel in the middle for a couple weeks, and I was in Israel thinking like I should break up with this girl. What am I doing? But I kept going out. Didn't know what I was doing, and then Purim rolled around. Purim is a holiday. For those who don't know, it's a one-day holiday, and it is marked by excessive drinking and revelry. It's a party holiday. It's you have a good time. You have a good time. It's a happy holiday. It's not a sad, depressing. I guess most holidays are happy, but it's a one day. It's a party time. So I was gonna break up with her, and then I said, hey, if I break up with her before Purim, I'm gonna ruin her Purim. So right, am I wrong?
I mean, it depends how long you've been dating and how attached.
I felt very little attachment, but we have been dating a little bit. We have been dating maybe like 5 weeks. So it was a decent
Eh,
amount of time.
I
In my circles,
guess.
that's a little more time. Like for me, that's a decent amount of time in my dating stratosphere, I would say. Um, it doesn't sound like a lot of time, but like for me,
No, I mean
especially at that point,
it is. It's like not insignificant. It also depends how
right,
serious, like it's not even the amount of time. It's like how serious you are about the situation. Like,
right, yeah, and I was not serious, but I mean, I was, I was serious, but I wasn't serious about the girl. But I definitely took it seriously. Like every date I go on, I take seriously. I always like give it my all. I feel, I really mean that. I don't phone it in. I think could be girls I've gone out with would disagree. I'm sure, but so anyways, I broke up with her at the end of perm. But I was here's the thing. I couldn't break up with her before perm. I'm going to ruin her perm. I couldn't break up with her
mm.
the day after perm because it was a Friday, and I just want to be
So
able
you're
to get
gonna
in
ruin
touch
her
with her
Shabbos.
during what do you say during Shabbos.
You're gonna ruin her Shabbos.
Right. So I think my sister in law told me like, oh no, so she had some sort of Shabbos plan with her friends. It's like, oh, like break it off with her at the end of the perm, and then she'll have her friends to like console her over Shabbos. So that's what I did, and she took it like a champ. Could be she was a little tipsy. I don't know. She took it like a champ. I did it over FaceTime, which was I've never done since. I just felt like I had to do it. It was the first time I'd broken up with someone. Like, give me a break. I felt like I had to do it face to face, like a man. And yeah, that was my that's the first time I broke up with someone. What a time. Do you remember your first breakup?
I mean, like the first time I ended things with the
Sure.
guy or like an actual breakup?
Whichever way you want to answer that question.
I mean, the first time I like ended things with the guy, I went on a terrible date. I've told the story like earlier episodes. Like the guy didn't have a plan. We just literally walked all of New York City. I did not have fun. I did not want to be there. I did not want to be with him. I did not ever want to see him ever again. So he sent me a text. He's like, "Hey, want to do this again?" And I was like, "No." Um, Actually, no, my roommate helped me draft like something really nice to say. She was like, "Oh yeah, it was really nice meeting you, but I just like don't think this is a match. Good luck with everything."
I
And
like
then
how
he
good you
like,
are at walking.
yeah, I was like, "Ugh, I did not have fun." Okay, I've stopped being as nice. Like if I don't have fun, like if it wasn't nice meeting him, I stopped saying that. But yeah, so I said that. My actual first breakup, I've only had like a couple of actual relationships. Um,
Same.
and so that breakup lasted like 3 days. It was intense. But it was also like pretty like it was more recent than not. I mean, it was 2.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago. Yeah, almost 2 years ago.
When you say 3 days, you mean like the process of breaking up took 3 days?
Well, the process of breaking up was probably over like a month,
Right.
but because like we got into a discussion about something, then we tabled it because we didn't want
Hmm.
to have the discussion. And then finally it came up again and we talked more about it. I was sitting in a restaurant and just started bawling my eyes out. Because that, I mean, I think I knew before, but like that was like the moment that I really, really knew like this wasn't, I mean, and we had been talking about getting married and like all of that. Like we were 5 months into dating. Like we were talking about like serious stuff. And then that's where we just like didn't weren't agreeing and didn't want the same things. And I just started crying uncontrollably in the restaurant. And he's like it wasn't like a heated discussion or anything. I just like, when you just like feel like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, this is it, like this is it, this is the end. So I just started crying uncontrollably. And
it's
this
like
actually
shock.
might have
Even though you
been,
know it's coming, it's like shocking, right?
yeah, this might have actually been the start of our breaking up conversation. I started crying uncontrollably in the restaurant, and he's like, "Okay, let's get the check and go." He's like getting me like tissues and like then we go to his car and I'm still crying uncontrollably. And then he takes me home and we like sat in his car outside my apartment building for probably a long time where I still continued to cry uncontrollably. Then I went upstairs and I wasn't even friends with my roommate at the time. Like we're friendly, but we weren't like good friends. And like she sees me, she's like, "Are you okay?" And I start crying again uncontrollably. And then he's like, I think we went out on like a Thursday or something. He's like, "Okay, let's like table this conversation. We'll talk again on Sunday. I'll come to you. We'll sit down and like actually have a discussion." Um, so then like I went through my whole Shabbos just crying uncontrollably. And then Sunday we talked a lot more crying. We still didn't break up. We just kind of like came up with band-aids for the problems. But then after that, things were like super tense. And like then one thing led to another. And like then we were like fighting about something because everything was super tense. And like he came over on like a Thursday, I think. And everything was like very like, so then we finally sat down and we're like, okay, we need to like think about this. And like next time we like go out, we need to like talk seriously and like make a decision. And then Saturday night, I called him after Shabbos and we started fighting again. And he's like, maybe we should just call it, and more crying. And he's like, okay, he's like, I don't want to do this over the phone. I don't want to fight over the phone. I was like getting ready to go somewhere with friends. He's like, I want you to have a good time with your night. Like, let's talk about this in person. And he's like, I'll come to you tomorrow and we'll talk about it in person. And then he kind of ghosted me for a day, and that made everything even worse. And then
Wow.
finally, yeah, I like was texting him and calling him. I'm like, "Are you coming? You said you were coming like Sunday." And he didn't. And then finally he like texted me back, or maybe he called me back, I can't remember. Like Sunday night, and he was like, I just like he was processing his own emotions and like whatever. Like he didn't start crying uncontrollably like I did, like everywhere. But he's just like, I just like needed time. He's like, I'll come tomorrow. I was unemployed at the time, but meaning like it was a whirlwind
Unemployed.
of it was a really, really weird time of my life because like Friday was my last day at my job. Um, I had 2 weeks in between when I was starting my new job, and then I was also moving apartments on Tuesday. And then this was happening Saturday night, Sunday, and then Monday. So he came on Monday. We like had a whole long crying session on my couch. Then he helped me move boxes. Then we went out to dinner. Then that was the end. And there was a lot more crying.
It sounds like he was a gentleman about it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't him breaking up with me. It was like a
Right.
mutual like
Yeah, it
this
sounded pretty
isn't
mutual. Yeah.
this isn't gonna work. I was just the one crying
Right.
because
That's okay. I mean, girls cry more than boys. Is that sexist to say? I don't know.
I mean, he got emotional too, just like
Yeah.
not like as much as me, where I would just like look like we'd be like laughing about something, and then I would look at him and like start crying again, and he's like, "You have to stop crying." Um, because at some
You,
point
you
he's
ever
like, "What good is crying gonna do?" Like,
ah, don't tell me how to feel. No.
no, I know.
You ever
And
heard
then
that
I
song
like,
"I Don't Want to Fight No More" by Alabama Shakes?
no,
I was like, "I don't want to fight no more." So, anyways, that's what your story was making me think of. Like, it's like sometimes you just need a break, from the conversation.
yeah. Well, I would have liked to know that we were taking a break from the conversation because that just made me more mad.
Oh,
Not
getting
mad.
ghosted.
It's just like what's happening. I'm like,
So confusing.
after 5.5 months, you're just ghosting me. Like,
Right.
and then he didn't ghost me, and then he like helped me move boxes. So yeah, that was an intense breakup, and then I like fled the country. Um, Not actually, I just fled New York. Like I was moving apartments, and then I already had a trip planned. Then I was going on vacation with my friend who was also in between jobs. And I don't recommend going on vacation right after a breakup. It depending on what type of vacation. This vacation we went to a resort and it was all couples and I was just like,
Triggering.
yeah, I was just triggered. And then I came back to New York. I started my new job. I started dating someone else pretty soon after that. Um, and then I don't think I really like emotionally processed anything. Like I thought I did. Like, you think you're emotionally intelligent, you think
Right.
you're over something, you think you're ready for something, and then you're not actually. So then after I broke up with the next guy, then I got to process two breakups at once. So that was fun.
Oh, you had one serious relationship after the other, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, one was longer than the other, but the other one was definitely more like the first one started off more casual. Like I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just like trying to have fun for the summer, like get some boys to buy me drinks, like whatever." And then the first one I dated, I ended up staying with for almost 6 months and like started talking like serious stuff and then like yeah, that was intense. And then the next one, it was more intentional from the beginning. Like we were definitely both dating more intentionally, like right out of the gate we were more on the same page about certain things. Um, and it was definitely more like of the serious mindset, but it was just shorter in length. I'm not saying like less significant. It's just like there were different relationships.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean that one was also ultimately like goal like and that one like the end goal was marriage. Like the one before, like when it started, like I was like, I don't know what this is.
It does sound very stressful. A breakup, switching new jobs, moving all in the span, and just traveling all in the span of a few weeks. That's like a
1 week.
lot. 1 week. Okay, that's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
That's like a lot, a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wasn't okay.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Now we just do things one step at a time now. Like, don't worry, everybody. I'm moving apartments, but I'm not moving jobs yet. I mean, by yet, I mean like I just started my job like a few months ago.
Right.
Um, and I don't have any breakups going on at the moment. So
Yeah, I've only had like two girls that it was really tough for me, like emotionally. Um, you know, and it's just, I don't have that much experience, thankfully, I guess, with like really intense breakups. That's good. Like, there's a band I listen to that I realized like their first two albums were just breakup songs. I didn't realize. I'm like, oh, I just feel like the riffs and the music and whatever, but like every song was a breakup song. So when I was in Israel, this like a few months ago, I was just riding the buses, looking out the window, listening to breakup songs, not realizing what I was doing. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It gets you in your feelings.
I
You
am
hear the right
hashtag in my
song,
feelings.
you hear the right song in the right moment, and like you just like feel.
This is so meaningful right now. This is exactly how I feel.
I mean, like most of the songs I'm talking about for me are Taylor Swift, but like
But
she has some good heartbreak songs, everybody. Like,
I would
but
imagine I'm not like super familiar with her catalog. I don't listen to her, but I do say that
I'm shaking my head right now.
22 is a yeah. Sorry for all the Swifties that I just triggered out there.
You're
Also,
triggering me. I'm a
I
Swiftie.
like John Mayer, so that's like double triggering.
No. Oh, I gotta
Yeah,
kick
that's
you
a
off the
big no no.
podcast now.
That's right. That's a big no no. Dear John's a great song though. I did listen to it. Great song.
Okay.
So see, I just won the audience back over. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah. No, I don't even know if I talk about this that much, but like I'm a pretty big Swiftie. I went to the Eras tour. That was my whole personality for a long time. I'm pretty sure that was the best day of my life. And like any other good things that happen in my life are going to be second to going to the Eras tour. So
I definitely. Yeah, the Eras. Yeah, I read about this. Yes, very hard to get tickets. I hear.
yeah, it was by like some miracle of God that I got tickets. Like
Right.
God was on my side that time.
That's right.
It was a
Hashtag
miracle.
hashtag I'm with God or something. I don't know.
God was with me. Okay.
How do you get over breakups? Like, what's your go to
Um,
strategy?
I really don't think that you'll ever be over someone. Like if you have like significant feelings for someone, I really don't think you're ever going to be over them until you get more significant feelings for someone else. So like even now, like it's been almost 2 years since I like broke up with the first guy. And I don't think about like I'll get like it's not that I miss him and I know we broke up for a reason. Like I am over him in the sense of like I don't want to get back together. I don't want to talk to him. We've been no contact for a couple of years, like for a year and a half. Like
That's the move.
we're not in communication. He doesn't run in my circles. It'll I don't think I'll ever see him ever again, which is fine. But you get like little memories here and there, and it's like, oh, and like I don't think the memories would have any sort of like I don't think I would feel as much with the memories if I like had someone that I was more into. Like even the small things, like he lives very close to one of my friends, and I go to that friend for Shabbos sometimes. So like even like walking in her neighborhood, it's like, okay, like, am I gonna see him on the street? I'm not.
Yeah,
But like it just
think
like
about it.
runs through my mind. Or it's like, oh, I went there with him. Like it's just like those types of memories. It's not like I'm not like crying about it, but it's just like, oh yeah. And it's just like I think those types of memories, if you are single, make you feel even more single. And I'm not saying I have the same with the other relationship that like I had, like over it, but like I'm over the breakup and I'm over the initial hurt, but like
Hmm.
still like memories come up. But I think like when I do like find the person I'm supposed to be with, I don't think I'll like give any guys in my past like a thought, or it would be like, oh my
Right.
gosh, I used to go out with that guy.
So maybe it'll be funny at that point.
Yeah, it's like funny. It's like you talk about your past. And I know like when I've like been in other stages of like talking to or dating other guys who I've been like excited about,
Hmm.
then I really like don't think about guys from my past.
Yeah, I think that's the move that I. The first time I had like a serious breakup was like 6 years ago, maybe, and it was really it was because of something that was happening in my life that like was not my fault, and it was a misunderstanding, it was miscommunication, there was a loss of trust, and that was it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was really like upset because I had no control of the situation, and it was not my fault. Um, and it was just it was the lack of communication was my fault, but it's something I hadn't even thought about, and I'm being very vague right now. I realize, but it's
That's
that
fine.
one took like it took a while to get over that, and about a certain point, I realized like the only way I'm going to get over is if just to meet someone who has the same, just to meet someone new, experience something new, and that's I think I get over, and then the one in January or February, what it was. I thought I got over it that night because again, I am still an idiot in different ways. I was very, very upset for like 30 seconds. And by upset, I meant I cried, right? It's okay. Real men cry, right? But I cried for like 30 seconds and then I was like, okay, I'm good. And then I went over to my brother's house and I like talked it out with him. I talked it out with his wife. And then I thought I was over it, but then it turns out I wasn't because like a month later in Israel, I'm listening to breakup songs and I was like, oh, what is happening right now? you know,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like I'm definitely like a proponent of feeling your feelings. And
right.
any of my friends who have breakups, like I like to say I'm an expert at dating, but I'm really not. Like we're all just like faking it. And
That's my hot take.
until we find someone. And I'm just like, just feel whatever you're feeling. If you want to cry, go cry. If you want to like go party, go party. Like I know for myself, like I needed the time to just like be sad. And at least with my second breakup, I feel like I didn't allow myself the time. Well, for my first breakup, I definitely didn't allow myself the time because I was like moving and then I was on vacation and I'm like, I can't cry on vacation. And then starting a new job and all of this other stuff. And then before I knew it, I was in another relationship. And then the next one, it was okay. Like, I need to just be sad for a little while. I need to like not be like, I remember like the night it happened, like, I cried on the couch. One of my friends came over and my roommate was here. I cried on the couch. We ordered pizza and then we went to a party. Like, and then they were like trying to get me to have fun. And I'm like, I really just want to be in my bed being sad. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think you just have to let yourself feel whatever you're feeling. I mean, definitely don't harp on someone like months and months and months later. Like, you have to
That's
like
not healthy.
find ways to like move on. But like, for the for like a couple weeks after, like let yourself be sad, or like when a sad moment hits, like let yourself feel it, listen to that sad song, be in your feelings, don't let it like consume you, but like just feel it.
Right. And definitely delete their number, I would say, immediately.
Oh really? I don't delete people's numbers.
So I do
Don't
it
unfollow
immediately.
them on social media though.
Right. So I'm not on social media, so that part's easy. Um, but definitely, that makes sense. I haven't had social media in a long time, but that makes sense. Don't follow them and like don't be in their life digitally or in real life or whatever. Like, you gotta clean. The way I see it, for myself, I have to have a clean break. It's over. Delete the number. Delete the text messages. I don't want. I need to like immediately start the process of moving on. That's just how I deal with things. But everyone
I
has their
don't
own
delete
process.
I don't delete anyone's numbers because you never know when people are going to come back into your life.
Right.
But like definitely, because my first ex, we were in contact for a little while, probably until I started like really like dating someone new. And then we went no contact. And like it was really, really hard when we were broken up and trying to move on, but still like talking all the time. We saw each other a couple times. Like it's not, it didn't help anything. It just made it worse. So I feel like it is part of the grieving process though. Like if you need to talk to him, but like just don't make it that a permanent thing.
It is a bit of a grieving process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you believe in we can still be friends?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's nonsense. I think I think it's like the unwillingness to like make a decision to actually have it be this like severance that
Hmm.
there was a before and then after, and it's not like, oh, I don't want it to be so permanent. Let's still be friends. Like, no,
No.
either you is or you ain't.
The only reason to still be friends after is if there's a chance of reconciliation.
For me, the only reason to be not friends, I say always be friendly. That's where
Yeah.
I go. I'm a
Friendly is
pretty
good.
friendly guy. I can't really do the friend. I just I never yeah. It's not for me. I don't be
Unless
into that.
like definitely not right away. If like a lot of time has passed and it's like,
Right.
okay, we're gonna be friends, or like if it's someone who I have to see in social situations, then it's better to like I know
Sure.
people in like my community who like will date and then are in the same friend group and
Yeah.
like okay, so at first it's weird, but eventually they are friends again.
Right.
But
that is true. In your community, it is from my understanding, with a very limited understanding, it is a little bit different. Where you might see someone. There's more of a chance you might see someone, right? At like a shops meal or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
So,
different than
yeah.
what I'm experiencing. Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think right away you could be friends. Unless it was like you went on one date, you're like, oh, let's be friends and try to set each other up with like people. Like, I like you as a person. It's just not it. So, but it,
So
like an
you
actual like relationship, no way.
no way. Here's my question for you: is anyone really qualified to give dating advice? And hear me out. My opinion is that no one's good at dating because the people who are married, it's like, well, you're not even dating. Like, you're not qualified to give an opinion. You're not even in it. And then the people who are dating, like, well, if you're so good at it, how come you're not married? So it's kind of like this conundrum where I feel like no one's actually good at dating. Is that crazy?
Um, I think it depends on what kind of advice it is. Like, I decided I want to be a dating coach. Um,
Nice.
but
I
only
think
for
you'd be great at
guys.
it, actually.
Only
I
for
think,
guys. I don't want
oh,
any
okay.
female clients. I only,
Right.
well, I have a guy friend who's like texting me and asking me, like, he got set up with this girl and he was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I need help. I need help. I need a girl's perspective. And I'm like coaching him on what to do. I'm like, yo, I should do this for a living. He's like, if this works out with me and her, I'll be your I'll advertise for you. I'm like, okay. Cause like
Yeah.
I find
Sticky
myself,
situations coaching influencer.
yeah. Listen, I won't charge that much. I don't know how much the going rate for dating coach is. I won't charge that much. I have a real job too. But I just think it's doing a service of it's not even like telling people what to do or giving advice in specific situations. It's just telling like in this scenario, like this guy was he's like, okay, how do I come across? Like, I don't want to seem weird, whatever. I'm like, okay, send me the text before you send it to her and I'll tell you. And he just like is a little bit all over the place. And I'm like, okay, let's like rephrase this so it like sounds normal. And he's like, oh my gosh, this girl is beautiful. She's a model. I'm going to marry her. I'm like, no.
Nice.
I'm like, you need to reset your mind.
Not
I'm
an
like,
overreaction.
I was like, you need to like, in your mind, you need to be like, wow, I'm, she looks really great on paper, but, or she looks really great on paper. And I'm really excited to meet her in person to see if it's a match. Cause he's like, oh yeah, I know it's going to be a match. I know it's going to be a match. I know it's going to be a match. I'm like, no, you don't.
Oh,
I'm
wait, have you
like,
gone out with her at this point?
no, he still hasn't gone out with
Oh,
her. I mean, by the time you guys are listening to this, he will
come
have gone
on,
out with her.
man. Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, he has never met her in person. I think they spoke on the phone once because they were set up. He saw her profile, her resume, or whatever. And he was like, I'm
Love
going
at
to
first
marry
read.
this. He's like, I want to marry this girl. I want to marry this girl. She's a model, like all this. She's perfect. I was like, no, 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 no. You need to change your mindset. She looks great on paper. I'm really excited to meet her to see if it's a match in person.
Was she literally a model, or he just thought she was really
No,
attractive?
he just thinks
Oh,
she's really attractive. So I don't know. We'll see. So guys, if anybody wants a dating coach, I'm happy to help you. Like,
I think you'd be great. I really
thank
do. I
you.
think you'd be
I
great.
think I'd be great too.
Yeah.
I
No, I think
just
you'd be really good at it.
yeah, I don't want to coach any females. I just want to coach males because I do think at least from my own dating experiences, a lot of guys, some of them they're probably just not that into me and like whatever. But some guys I just don't think they know. I think they don't know what they're doing. And it's
Sure.
like you just need to be a
Hey,
little bit more polished. And like especially in the orthodox dating world, like girls expect a certain type of dating style, especially like if you're trying to date girls in their late 20s, early 30s, like they're tired of the BS. Like they just want to the point. They are used to a certain way. They just want to be treated nicely. And I feel like I don't get treated nicely a lot of times. So I want to help guys. And sometimes it's just like the guy doesn't know what he's doing. And those are the
right.
guys that I want to help because I want girls to be treated nicely. I think girls need to treat guys nicely too. But I've mostly seen and heard from my friends of the guys not treating girls nicely. And but I
Yes.
don't mean like they do bad things. It's just like they're not doing it's not like the proper way that we do things.
Right. And I think I said to you when we spoke before last time, I, I've definitely heard some things in the podcast where I thought, oh, wait, yeah, I shouldn't do that. Not a lot, but a few things. And then I've heard things, oh, I used to do that, but not anymore. Nothing comes to mind specifically, but we are, there's just we're a little oblivious a lot of the time, I think.
Yeah.
Um, but I've worked with dating coaches here and there, and it's usually when it's usually when I'm trying to figure out like clarity for myself, and then you know uh, you kind of talk to everyone in your social circle, and then you want someone objective. So yeah, definitely hire
Yeah.
Rachel. Uh,
If any guys
my
need
advice.
help, just reach out. You know where to find me. You can DM me at Sticky Situations Pod on Instagram or send me an email at stickysituationspod@gmail.com. I got to come up with my business model. So, but I always want to help
Firstborn child,
guys.
I think, is
What?
fair.
Yeah.
Firstborn child is fair, I think.
Yeah. But okay. So, Dove, before we get to our wrap up segments, is there anything else that you would like to share, discuss?
I would say, guys, be nice, be a gentleman, and even if you think they don't appreciate it, you're just practicing for the next one. So always good policy. Be nice, be respectful, and just be a gentleman.
I think that goes for girls too. I think just everyone needs to be nice and
Right,
respectful when it comes to dating.
right. Take the high ground
Yeah.
and listen to the song "Higher Ground" by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Great song, great bass line. But yeah, take the high ground. In general, take the high ground, but take the high ground. You can't lose.
Okay. Is that your piece of dating advice?
No.
Okay.
It's my first. It's my first piece of dating advice. So
Okay. So let's hear your other piece of dating advice.
again, I don't really think I have any advice because most of the things I don't feel like I'm qualified to give dating advice because I still feel like I'm learning, even though I've been in the game, as they say, a hot minute. But so is the dating advice for myself? Is it something that I wish I would have learned sooner? I don't know, but I will say that something that I try to live by is just like get back out there. Just sometimes you need to take a break. Like I might take a break for a couple weeks now, but just get back out there. And I see dating as, everyone has problems in their life. People have various issues that they have to deal with in their life. Nobody has it easy. But for me, dating is a problem where I always feel like I have clarity in what I need to do next. And not everyone, I'm not saying everyone will feel like this. But for myself, I always feel and I've always felt like I have this goal, and this goal that I have is I want to get married and start a family and have children and all that good stuff, right? And I'm not going to get any closer to that by just not putting myself out there and getting back out there. And so for me, I've always had this like clarity of I just need to keep going out, and that's very like reassuring for me because sometimes you have a problem and you're not sure what the next step is to take. You're not sure, should I go this way? Should I go that way? Should I do nothing? Should I do something? Should I, you don't know what to do. But with dating, I always felt like, hey, I have a problem. I need to meet someone, so I got to keep meeting people until I meet that someone. So um, that is my advice to myself, and then maybe someone else will find that as meaningful to them. Is that just keep putting yourself out there and just get back on the horse. You
I
know,
like it. I should take your advice.
please do.
But
It's free. I'm not. I will not become a dating coach because no one should take my advice on anything except basketball. But no,
okay. So, Dove, last but not least, what is your Real Housewives tagline?
right. So I didn't know what this was. I did look it up on YouTube as suggested. Very interesting people. I would say mine is. I can't believe no one's taken this, and this will not make sense to you, but to some people who know me a little longer than you, I guess it'll make sense. Mine is long hair, don't care. Long hair, don't care. I don't know if that works. If that's in
Yeah,
the style,
sure. Do you have long hair?
not now. I have at
I was
various
gonna
points.
say it doesn't look that long.
No, it's not
Like
long, but
it looks normally.
right. At various points it has. I'm always talking about how I'm going to grow it out. So I have had longer hair at various points. So long hair, don't care. And I think long hair, don't care is an ethos where you do you and don't care what anyone thinks. Just you
Yeah,
do you.
I like it. Dove, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And Sticky Situation Nation, you'll catch me next time. Bye, everybody.